Hello everyone and welcome back to War Thunder with Jippo the Juppis. Yesterday I got back to my desktop after 2 weeks holiday, visiting family and friends and so on. Didn't really play much of anything during that time. So I decided to try some War Thunder after a while, and I decided to take it easy for a start, and noticed that my B26 A34 Peashooter was still not spaded. It still had one more thing to unlock, and I decided to give it a try. Some lower tier games, and this plane is actually somewhat rare, since there was only like a couple of chances to get this plane. Last one was during the US Independence Day, 4th of July, and that's where I got this plane from. Don't remember anymore what you had to do, but it was really simple, so it wasn't so difficult to get, but I don't think there's been a chance to get this plane after that anymore. However, it's not really any different from the other Peashooters in the game, so it's basically the same as the other reserve planes. It has only 2 light machine guns as armament, so it doesn't have the heavy machine gun as one of the Peashooters. It can equip bombs, as you can see here. I have them there under the fuselage, and my plan is to bomb one of the light tanks there at the front, and after that, if I'm lucky, maybe I could get 1 or 2 fighter kills. And I'm not very optimistic in this matchup, since I'm in a reserve plane and there's 2.0 battle rating fighters, including a Hurricane, in our team. So it means the Germans will have some quite advanced planes in their team. I dive into this light tank, drop my bombs, but apparently they were too weak and they didn't kill the tank, so I go for this Heinkel 112, who is just ignoring me. This Buffalo also, Hurricane I mean, comes after him. And this Heinkel is in a very bad position. I get a couple of hits into him, and for some reason the Heinkel flies straight into the trees and I get a kill out of him, so that's nice. More Heinkels incoming. One of them seemed like he was going for me, so I kind of dodged, but he didn't come after me after all. This one looked like a head-on towards me. I fired a couple of shots, but I steered away. But the Heinkel got killed by the Hurricane, so that's good. No assist or hits or anything on him though. And here's yet another Heinkel flying low, chasing this Hurricane. When I go to help the Hurricane, I look out for the other fighters in the team. Enemy team, there's plenty of them flying above me, but it seems none of them is very close to me, so I feel safe for now. Unfortunately, this Hurricane gets taken out, but now this Heinkel is in a very bad spot. I get some nice hits on him. Almost hit this Buffalo, who comes in front of me. I keep strafing the Heinkel. He dives down a bit, but it doesn't get him very far. He's turning way too much and burning off his speed, so even my slow plane can keep up with him. I get crits on him, and he makes the final mistake of turning in a very slow speed and turning up a bit, so I just saw his wing off. I saw his wing off with my puny machine guns. But I still have plenty of ammo left, so I try to continue, but my luck finally runs out a bit and I take some hits. However, it seems the hits did not cripple my plane. I can still control it just fine, so I keep on fighting. There's a real furball going on, so I head there. Doesn't seem like there's much else going on. There's this Falco above me, but he seems to be quite passive, so there's this another Falco in front of me now, who is chasing Hurricane. and I decided to go for the Falco. Get some deflection shots on him. Hopefully I didn't hit the buffalo again. Some more hits, and Falco is not doing really anything to avoid me. He's just chasing the hurricane. This Heinkel is sort of at the start of the line now. This also almost seems like an arcade match now. Now they switch directions and I get to shoot the Falco all I want. And eventually I saw off one of his wings as well, and he goes to the forest. So that's the third kill for us now. I feel quite happy at this point. I even managed to get a couple of hits on this BF-109, of whom we will see a lot later on. But now the fight has slowed down a bit. People are going to their respective airfields to repair and rearm. Still is Heinkel in high above, but it doesn't seem like much of a threat. And nothing really goes on, so I just go to my airfield, get my plane fixed. But when I get back to the front line, I notice there's only me and this buffalo left. The buffalo is coming from our airfield. And, there's this Heinkel 111 who has now also rearmed and repaired, and is coming back to bomb some more targets. He's at quite a low altitude. And the other plane, the enemy team, is this Messerschmitt, who is there now behind me. There's already arrow flashing, and now I notice him. And at the last second I dodge his attack. And yeah, at this point it's pretty clear to me that this Messerschmitt pilot knows what he's doing. He actually has quite a bit of kills already. So instead of attacking the Heinkel at this point already, I wait for the buffalo to get here to help me. I'm afraid my puny machine guns won't take out the Heinkel fast enough, so I wait that we can both attack him at the same time. And also it might make it more difficult for the Messerschmitt to try to kill us if we are both sticking together. The Messerschmitt is looming above us, and he's coming for an attack now. I dive out of his way well in advance, and I decide to go for the Heinkel now, since it will be a moment before the Messerschmitt can come back. I spray him with my machine guns, get one of his gunners, but nothing else critical. Actually could have continued on shooting for the Heinkel a bit, but I was getting a bit paranoid about the Messerschmitt. Actually kind of lost him for a second there. Let's get confused with my camera, but he's there. Yeah, he's not very close yet, and he actually goes to the buffalo this time. But it doesn't seem like he doesn't get anything too bad on him. I fire some very optimistic shots towards him, but it's way too far. No way that's going to do anything. And the Heinkel has turned back, and maybe he's trying to get the remaining gunners on us, but he does this weird pull-up maneuver, and he's just serves himself on the plate, and the buffalo actually gets him, probably kills the pilot. And now there's only this Messerschmitt left, but he's doing everything possible to keep us away from him, off of him. And yeah, he's the top player on the enemy team, so no wonder why he's doing so well. We're just trying to stick together with the buffalo. This time the Messerschmitt is going for the buffalo, but they are a bit too far this time for me, and I can't really do anything. Actually, the buffalo turns upwards and tries to shoot at my Messerschmitt, but no way, and luckily the buffalo realizes this and he turns away quite soon. So we're just staying low and waiting, basically waiting for the Messerschmitt's next move. He has the initiative in this engagement. just have to hope that he makes some kind of mistake. And he almost gets me there, very close. I think he actually got a couple of hits on my wing, but it's nothing really serious at all. This time the Messerschmitt stays low, and he actually starts to fly towards their airfield. I thought he was going for a rearm, but turns out he was just deceiving us. He's actually just trying to lead us into a trap to get us shot down by the anti-aircraft fire at the airfield. We follow him to the airfield, and unfortunately the Buffalo goes into the trap and he gets shot up by the anti-aircraft fire. The Messerschmitt during this time has acquired plenty of altitude again. Buffalo is trying to get away from the airfield fire, but it's too late, and he bites the dust. He's still struggling, but yeah, there it is. He goes to the ground, and I realize there's no way I can win this guy, this Messerschmitt, if I stay at altitude. So I dive down and decide to take the fight to the treetops. And sure enough, the Messerschmitt is coming after me. My plan was to go to my own airfield and get some fire from there on the Messerschmitt, but our airfield is very, very far still, but that's the best I can do right now. Messerschmitt is closing in very fast. I maybe could have been even a bit more lower than this, but I think this is at least low enough to make it a bit more complicated for Messerschmitt to engage me. And here he comes. I dodge his attack very easily this time, but it will be much harder from now on. My plane is simply too slow to keep dodging him all the time. He comes for another pass very quickly, and very nearly gets me that time. It was just about a meter or two away from me, the burst in there. He pulls up. I get a bit confused here. I'm just concentrating on where the Messerschmitt is instead of just heading for the airfield. So I kind of realize I'm way too far from the airfield right now. And the Messerschmitt comes again. And I make a slight mistake, and in there I don't turn enough, and sure enough the Messerschmitt now gets some hits on me, and I realize that the situation is quite desperate now. There's no way I can make it to the airfield, and probably on the next pass the Messerschmitt will get me, so I have to try something ludicrous this time. So I see him coming and I decide to turn as much as I can. I see this tiny clearing here in the forest. Take it to the absolute treetop level. Turn. Some hits, but he crashes to the ground. And that's the game. Here we can see his second last pass that damaged me. In the replay without the HUD. Yeah, he gets some hits on me. Goes from front of me. I'm just struggling to control the plane here for a while. He pulls up above me. You can see the trees already popping in the camera. My plane is wobbling all over the place, and here he comes for another pass. Swooping down. I turn as much as I can close to the ground, and he overshoots it and goes straight into the riverbank and the trees, and that's it. That's the game. 3 air kills for me and some ground target kills also while waiting for the motor action, and I'd say that was quite the result for a reserve aircraft in a matchup that was very unfavorable. So I hope you enjoyed that first video of mine for 2016, and see you on the next one.